Program is rated GE. It is suitable for general family viewing.
So today on Beyond the Limits, we discuss bullying and physical violence in schools and just how it affects the students and their mental wellness. And as always, your all-time favorite doctors are on board. If you do not know them, well, or perhaps you're joining us for the very first time, you need not to worry. They'll be introducing themselves shortly. But of course, we're looking forward to hear from you. The lines are open. You can always contribute to the conversation because it's crucial and important that we discuss this. My name is Linda Alela, and this is Beyond the Limits. And so Dr. Rehab will be the first one to introduce herself as well. Then we'll go to Dr. Sarah, and lastly, Dr. Jane. Dr. Rehab.
My name is Rehab Galushi. I'm a doctor of clinical psychology and a lecturer at Mount Kenya University, Nairobi campus.
My name is Dr. Sarah Kimaru Mushai. I'm the Dean School of Social Sciences, Mount Kenya University, as well as coordinator of persons enabled differently.
Dr. Jane Newto here, a psychologist counseling and a director Mind and Beyond Counseling Center.
You know, this is the only time I can get a chance to bully the doctors, yeah? Because then when you're out there, they are doctors and you have to treat them as so. And so the doctors are actually treating themselves as doctors. Karibuni sana, and thank you as always to, always be willing to speak to the matters that affect us. It takes so much to, dedicate your lives to that. So we begin by asking ourselves just what is bullying? Because sometimes we talk about bullying left, right, and center without so much knowledge as to what this is. Dr. Jane, what is bullying?
Bullying is a form of ill-treating other people. It's harassing people, students, groups. It's demeaning or intimidating someone and silencing them, like don't tell anyone. It is disempowering a person, making a person feel useless, frustrated, and disappointed, like they have no say. Shutting them up, like shut up, and forcing them to do things that they don't want to do. It can come in many forms and styles, mostly in high schools, in primary schools, and these days actually even young children, they bully others.
Someone appears as though they are giving you a comment that is polite, but in real sense it's not.
Yes, sometimes they use good words, like they'll even call you your name or a nickname, and then they are slapping you, they are teaching you, they are suffocating you. Their bullies come in many different forms. Yeah. Even like criticizing the way you are dressed, but trying to tell you how smart you are in a way and then the facial expression can tell you something is not right here.
Is there any one of us who has experienced bullying at any point, maybe in school and all that? I'm told during your times it was quite rampant. Ukiingia high school hivi, one of the things that you're told, hey, be ready, because then you're going to experience this.
It's true, during our time it was quite rampant, but thank God some of us went to good schools. However, even in those schools that were not known for bullying, there was still that, little element of bullying. Personally, I experienced that subtle kind of bullying when I went to Form 1. I was in that long dress, pleated dress, and I was a small girl. So this girl, big girl, looking tall, and I think she was in Form 3, comes and says, "Kujeni muone kamono kamevaliwa na guo."
Oh, that must feel very bad.
Oh, I tell you, I wanted to run after my father. I wanted to go back home. It was very difficult for me, and immediately, you are a small girl and your self-esteem just goes down. You have to really work it up again.
Well, I may not really say it was bullying, but it's a kind of experience that I felt when I went to Form 1. I was not very eloquent in English, and I would try to keep off. And anytime I would pronounce the words the way they are not pronounced, I would see people laugh. And so it was not a good atmosphere. And so I would choose to keep quiet and not speak because I knew I would attract some laughter.
Just how then can the school environment either contribute or as well prevent bullying and violence in schools?
We need to say that it's good that the school develops a culture of accommodating every other person without discrimination. We bring out the issue of safe environment is very key. And I think currently we are seeing many schools have installed CCTVs where they're able to watch and see what is happening, even areas that are not really visible, that you cannot really tell that this is what is happening here. But with CCTVs, I think they're able to capture such cases. At the same time, we need to encourage students to speak out any unacceptable behavior, that you don't wait until things have happened. Encourage students to speak out and bring and report anything that is not normal, that doesn't look normal. And with the teachers and students and also the subordinates supporting this, I think it's possible to clean out issues of bullying.
All right. Well, this then would affect a person's mental well-being. That is my assumption. I mean, for instance, if you're not going to speak, or you will opt not to speak even in times when you needed to speak, simply because you are scared that perhaps people are going to laugh at you, it must have a toll on your mental well-being. How then does this get to be addressed? And how important is it to address the same?
Definitely when you are bullied and you are told to shut up, there is that suppression of emotions. And this can even bring the sickness, stress and feelings of low confidence, like Dr. Riab said, low self-esteem. And it's important to help the person understand that they need to speak out, even in times of stress, bullying, because that is the way they'll be able to come out of it and to let the authority know it is real, it is happening. Despite the fact that there is the fear instilled, like to the victim, and they feel so powerless, there need to be a lot of talking, encouragement, and the teachers may be encouraging to listen. The prefects not being given too much power, because majority are also bullies.
I know maybe at that campus level, it might not be so common because it's more of a free space. But this perhaps are, again, students who are coming from high school almost immediately. What do they say about the prevalence of bullying in schools today? Would we say the numbers are have significantly dropped, or we still have these cases, just that, like you said, in a very subtle way?
Well, maybe we wouldn't really, at our level, talk about what is happening really at that prevalence level in schools until maybe we do some study, or we check on the studies that have been done. But what in our practice, we deal with students from high schools who have gone through this experience. And one thing that maybe we would want to say is that bullying is still prevalent in high schools. I may not have the exact figure, regarding the prevalence, but I have, in my practice, I have seen quite a number of students who have gone through bullying in school. Some of the students don't want to go back to that particular school. Others are going through a lot of mental issues, emotional issues, and sometimes even the parents don't understand the magnitude of the issues that the students are going through.
Your child will come back home saying that, Mom, I don't want to go back to that school. You probably do not understand why they are saying this. It also perhaps would begin from that level of the home. Do you suppose there is a certain group or certain demographics that are actually vulnerable to bullying compared to others?
We have the issue of age. There are those who feel they are younger than others, and so the older people might decide they are going to intimidate them. We also have the issue of ethnic backgrounds. Some schools are maybe dominated by a certain ethnic tribe, and so the others that might look marginalized in quotes might feel that they are also being intimidated. Maybe you have health issues. It could be issues of disability, or maybe you don't eat certain kind of foods, and so in such a moment, again, you can see this kind of people can be intimidated and looked down upon. Maybe even also performance. And sometimes we assume that everyone who has been admitted to a school is performing. And maybe you're an average performer or a low performer, and somehow, because of every time you're not performing and teachers are speaking negatively about you, students also tend to pick it up, and it can be another bullying avenue.
Should we start addressing this at the level of home?
As a parent, you know your child, you know your daughter, you know your son, you know the things they're able to withstand, you know their esteem matters, because I think that's where we are coming from. Some people some students have low self-esteem, others have high self-esteem, and you need to know how to help them moderate, such that even in the event that such a thing happen, help them know how to respond. But don't put it under carpet. Let's talk it and openly talk about it.
It's important that we are keepers of our own children. Tell them that this is happening, but in the event that it happens, what do you do? What of importance, even at our very own schools, make sure that we create spaces that are actually safe for our students. We are discussing bullying and physical violence in schools and just how they get to affect the students on Beyond the Limit. We take a quick short break and then we come back with more on that. So we are asking ourselves, as a parent, and your child comes to you and they tell you, Mom, I don't want to go back to that school. What is the most important, how do you approach this? How do you address this? Do you tell them that, wewe, you hautaki kwenda kusoma, take them back to that school? Do you transfer them? Looking at the difficult times that perhaps you are in. It's very important that we address bullying. And even as we address, let's focus on getting long-term solutions as opposed to solutions that would just be, short-term. And so we get to this conversation once again, or perhaps we take it further with Dr. Rehab as well as Dr. Sarah and Dr. Jane. And so we come to this space, and maybe let's just answer that question. Your child comes to you and they tell you, Mom, I need to be transferred. Maybe they have not explained why, but genuinely they really do not feel comfortable in that school. What is the most important thing to do at this point?
The best thing to do is be available, get into their world, sit with them and tell them, tell me more. Tell me more. Encourage them to talk. Don't judge, don't contribute, listen, and listen with a third ear. That's what we say. Like, we have 2 ears to listen more. After they tell you, they will tell you a lot. So when they tell you they are really being bullied, talk to the teacher. If the bullying continues, remove your child from that school. Do not wait for you to be called when your child is dead or thrown to the swimming pool, or something bad has happened. They have been stepped on with a sporty shoe when they're in the field by a bully, and they pretend they are just busy doing the soccer, but they are targeting to bully someone. So there is a lot happening. In my practice, I listen a lot to students in high school. Some are bullies, and and they'll tell you a lot. So remove your child from that school if the situation is not changing.
What are some of the long-term effects or possible long-term effects to this? Because then you would want to just overlook, and perhaps a school would address one case and overlook the numerous other cases. Therein comes long-term effects. What are some of them?
The issue is that the person who is being bullied falls in love with the one who is bullying them because of the fear. So they'll start protecting them. They are intimidated. It's like they're in a prison, love-hate relationship. The worst thing is now the future results, because the stress, the lack of sleep. If you find your bed is full of water at night, or someone is slapping you when you are sleeping, and you don't know who they are because they have a hoodie, you will never ever be healthy. You'll be dysfunctional. And some parents are asking, why is my child bringing poor grades? Find out, go deeper. And even if the school is trying to cover up, because sometimes the school want to maintain the name, go with what your child is telling you. Because the child can get depressed or suicidal. There are students who have been sodomized.
And even as you deal with them, like we said, it's important to get long-term solutions. But forget about long-term solutions for a moment. Are there possibilities that one then can have this impact and, you know, they affect their mental health into adulthood?
Oh, yes. You can, you know, the childhood experiences are very key to the grown-up life, so the adult life. You find that most of the problems that we have as adults are emanating from our childhood experiences. And some of those are actually what is happening in schools. So you'll find that somebody is coming out of that school with anger issues as an adult. So they're exhibiting a lot of anger issues. You don't know what the problem is. So if one went through bullying in school and they were so traumatized, nobody, you know, helped them through, you'll find that they'll have a lot of psychological issues. They can even develop PTSD. Like Dr. Jane says, a whole, you know, if a person is asleep and they had re-experience, they have re-experiences even when they are sleeping. They are waking up at night shouting and screaming because of what they went through at that time when they were children.
How do we find ourselves as a society, you know, coming up with initiatives and programs that actually will help create a safe and supportive environment for the people and even speak to the students themselves, you know, to foster an aspect of empathy to address this?
As you have heard, it is something that is maybe encompassing several stakeholders within the education system. And so I find that one, we need to start with our families. We need to train our children how to have healthy relationships. Some of these things, because you've seen it's two-way, there's that child who can become a subject to be bullied, and there's one who bullies. And maybe the one who has become subject to be bullied, it could be as a result of being naive, a child who is not able to express themselves, they cannot be able to speak out. And so eventually they are able to, everybody manipulates them. So that's a weakness by itself. We need to empower that child such that even by the time they get out of the home, they feel they are not insecure. They're not insecure. Then this child who also could be a bully, maybe he has seen the way of communication at home. It's only through fights. It's only through, maybe he has noted that for you to get something, it has to be by force, you know, the part of scarcity mentality. And so even when they go to school, they are unable to survive and to live with other people because they know that the way to get anything is through fight, is through bullying somebody, is through oppressing other people. So I think we need to inculcate that culture where people learn how to be accommodative. Because again, if we don't fix those things, even at that age of being in primary or in high school, again, we shall find it at a later age, as my colleague has mentioned.
Dr. Jane, you see, statistically, you look at some of these things that are being addressed as to bullying, and you realize that actually they begin at a very tender age. Primary school, you know, not anymore will you be told that when you go to high school is when you get to experience bullying. And that reminds me of the episode that we had last time, and when we were talking about the importance of, you know, spiritual growth and the importance of inculcating, you know, religion teachings, you know, to our children at a very tender age. When you look at education, diversity, you know, culture, religion, just how much are these helpful in terms of making sure that we address and we actually avoid these cases of violence, these cases of bullying, and of course fostering an environment where we'll take care of each other's health mentally?
You might be educated, but you have no character. You are a fool, you know. So it begins with the curriculum. It actually begins from the home, the values and the virtues that parents are inculcating to the students and telling them, like what Daktari have said, the values of love and respect, boundaries. Yeah, I think it's an all-round thing where individuals, families, society, the church teaches values, schools come in and tell the students, you are here to study, not for a certificate, but also for your values, because you get a job. If you don't have character, you will lose that job. And the person, the all-round person, and I like the CBC somehow, because it's bringing the parent and the child together as they do the homework. The parent keeps throwing words to this child. And research actually shows that, like for fathers at home who take their children to church, to school, who participate in the child's life, the outcome is better. Because we find in boys' school, that's where we have a lot of bullying. That doesn't mean that girls are not always bullying, yeah. But boys, we need to work on our boy child intentionally as fathers, as mothers. For single mothers also, they have a role to make sure that their child is also all round. Yes.
I mean, and they always say that there are men out there who can actually, come in and be father figures. As we sum it up, and in about maybe 30 seconds, what would be the take home in this very important conversation, even as we seek to get, ways of preventing this? Do we foresee a future where we're going to say that bullying then is a game of the past, or is something that we learn to live with and learn how to manage it?
Well, like we have said, bullying continues to happen, but I think society needs to be civilized. We need to get to a point where we educate people so that they would know that neither the bully or the bullied is in a good space. We need to bring to them the psychological impact of both the bully and the bullied, so that people can now be able to know, children, right from primary school, as you bring this information to them, they can be able to know that I have to work on myself, because I want to be that person who will, be responsible in future.
Mm-hmm. When we're talking about bullies, and perhaps that should be your parting shot, are there children that are just prone to that? And is it beyond them that they cannot go to a space where they don't have to bully?
My take would be, let this child be encouraged to know what are their rights, what is expected of them. And then we also stop the revenge mission, because I think that is what is contributing to all this mess, yeah? That because it was done to me, I also do to the other. The parent, the student, and the teacher should speak out and say what is wrong and correct what has been done wrongly in the past.
Okay, beautiful. Dr. Jane?
Yeah, for me, I think I want to go the social media way, because when a child wakes up and they have the movies that are violent, the cartoons, they are feeding their mind that it's okay to do the same thing. If it happens through the ear, you might be trying to give the values, but there is another teacher in the house, the TV, the computer, the phone. So it's a wake-up call, like we need to supervise our children, intentional parenting, and help them, because bullies are made.
Beautiful. It's incumbent upon you and me to make sure that our children are trained in the right way. Perhaps to take home is that bullies are made. So are you making your own? Or are you trying to, just grow this child in a way that they will learn to respect the feelings, the emotions, the well-being of others, even as they look forward to be respected. Once again, thank you so much, as always, Dr. Rehab. Thank you so much, Dr. Sarah and Dr. Jane, for always, always coming out to share the great insights in relation to what affects us as a society. That's where we close, Beyond the Limit. As always, the conversation continues on our social media platforms. You can always interact with us. You can always tell us what it is that you want us to address next, and we'll gladly do that. My name is Linda Lela. Do have yourself a lovely evening ahead. Bye-bye.